Nanomachines, son.
Murray, didn't realize that my great-grandmother was George Washington.
What?
I watched the Sly Cooper thing last night.
Oh, that? Yeah, it's freaking...
That's right. I hid the lesbian relationship between Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. Why? I don't know. I am the truth. So I killed the truth. Right. I'm secretly Teddy Roosevelt. Guys, did you know that Teddy Roosevelt was actually a kinky furry? Well, he is named Teddy. I think I'm misquoting that, but goddamn. Like, I don't think anything has ever actually made me, like, break down laughing harder than the real-time dubs that Snapcube does.
You're actually really good at it.
Who, me? What?
No, I said them.
I thought you said your. I was really confused.
No. You suck.
Yes.
Not like that, but okay, cool.
Well, I didn't mean it like that, but also yes.
Well, anyways, today we're reading more Wolf. No, not Wolfbeard. They're both, you know. Shush. They're both stupid though.
Vampbeard.
Vampbeard, exactly. Thank you.
Fangbeard. Nah, that just sounds like a weird pirate.
Yarg.
It's like a pirate that also happened to be a cannibal who filed his teeth into points or something. We're reading Midnight Sun. We are on chapter 7, which is page 140.
Yep.
And there's
chapter 7.
Melody. There's something that I feel kind of remiss for not actually mentioning, and that's the fact that, I mean, yes, the story is sexist, but like most sexism, it's weirdly like non-flattering to both sides of the gender spectrum.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, on like you have the like typically you have the typical misogyny stuff, which women being like portrayed as like weak and shallow and all that shit. But usually alongside that mentality, you also have like the other side of that exact same mentality, which is men is like just angry with no self-control and like often violent and shit.
Yeah. It's just not flattering for anyone, really.
Yeah, it was like I feel like that actually is kind of worth bringing up. Is like, I swear this is only the case with sexism, but regardless of its misandry or misogyny, both of them tend to not paint either side of the gender spectrum in a good light.
I don't think it's supposed to.
Well, typically with most other like fucking discriminations, it's only the target of the discrimination that's being painted as bad. Like homophobia, it's not like straight people are being portrayed by homophobes as in like a negative way. They're only like going after gay people. Whereas sexism, it's like, oh yeah, and like with like misogyny, it's like, oh yeah, women are weak and they need protection from us men who are all vile. It's like, wait, what?
I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe sexism just covers too broad of a thing, you know?
Yeah, like sexism is really weird because it's the only one where you're also insulting yourself. Like, regardless, you're insulting yourself as well.
I try not to think too hard about all that stuff. It's just not really worth the effort, I think, to really get all upset about that stuff.
It's just one of those things. It's like, because like going through this story just kind of like reminded me of that. Because like the whole thing is like, the women in it are all like, it's like talked about how they're like shallow and shit like that, and then the men, it's all they're jealous, they're angry, they're
they
short-sighted.
need the women, yeah.
And stuff like that is like, oh, we need to protect the women from ourselves.
Yeah, I hate that logic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so sexism is done. Discrimination is done. This is my TED Talk.
Thanks. I have a Patreon at buymymerchandise.com/Patreon.
Buymymerchandise.tom.
Tom? Tom's got his own website?
Yes, .tom, it's short for Tomothy.
Tomothy?
You know how .com is short for commercial.
Yeah.
And org for organization, and gov for government.
Yeah. Well, look at Mr. Tomothy over here. Isn't he cool? His own fucking website stuff. Piece of shit.
Also, I'm gonna need to figure out, like, a good time, because I figured out what I think I want the first book to do, the captive audience thing that I, like, briefly talked about before.
Oh?
Because I don't know if I, like, went into full detail. I've talked about it with Tom, but basically just, like, one person having read the thing and then, like, talking about it to everyone else.
Oh.
Hence the captive audience title.
Yeah.
Which, that would either be alongside what are we reading? So it'd be like, oh, we have a third episode this week. This time it's an episode of Captive Audience.
Oh.
Which, that could be kind of interesting. It would just be a whole thing of trying to figure out when to do that. Like, when we would be able to fit that into the recording schedule.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of having the first one be done over Ready Player One. Oh boy. And at some point, probably end up doing Twilight series, the 50 Shades of Grey series, Onision's books, of course. Possibly Trigger. I might have to get a hold of a copy of Trigger Warning, because, oh boy.
Wait. That's a thing?
It's a book written by an author that typically does cowboy fiction. So they seem like they probably know what they're talking about when it comes to the overly sensitive college landscape. Whatever the shit. Because, yes, the people getting offended about wanting people to be... the people that get offended by other people saying, hey, let's treat others with respect, are totally able to judge other people for getting offended and shit.
Yeah.
I'm offended by the fact that you want them to be treated as equals. Wait, what? Yeah, just go to your safe place, you special snowflake.
It's like the Dave
I just
thing.
said don't call him a fag.
Yeah.
It's a really mean word to use. You didn't do anything deserving insult.
Yeah. You are the butt of a cigarette. How dare you
just
speak
holding
to
his
me?
boyfriend's hand, and I'm just like, hey, cool it. Don't insult them for that, and you're getting all uppity at me. How am I the one easily offended here? But yeah, so there's that. As well as, like, some other things, like the kind of stuff that we couldn't do stuff like this because that would likely get us hit with a copyright strike.
Ooh, that won't be fun. Not
And
at all.
so it would be like one of us reading it beforehand, taking notes, and then ranting.
Ew, I'd have to read beforehand?
It would probably be one of the people I'm shacked up with. Don't worry about that.
Shacked up with? Oh.
You know, like the Elder God or the Vampire.
Have fun with that then, man.
Anyway, let's start this, actually. Instead of talking about plans for the future.
Yeah, is it my line?
No, it's my line. Alright,
Then fucking 7. Read, goddamn.
I had to wait when I got back to school. The final hour wasn't out yet. That was good because I had things to think about and I needed the alone time.
Like bones.
To masturbate. However, due to the fact that I was a vampire in the Twilight universe, my cells do not divide, meaning that I shot the only shot I'd had for the last few hundred years, meaning that the future timeline in which I have a kid no longer exists.
Wait, what? Like, I know we've already talked about this, but their cells don't divide at all?
Nope.
How does he regenerate then?
It's just reattaching body parts.
No.
Scalpels aren't sharp enough to be able to penetrate vampire skin.
If a lad shoots your arm off, you can't just reattach it and it works the same. There are little itty bitty teeny tiny bits that have been splattered all over the wall that you can't just magically work without if your cells don't split.
Look, somehow, whenever Bella was near death's fucking door and got turned into a vampire, she went from skeletal to healthy in no time.
Yeah, her body needs to... What? I let this pass before, but now, no, I can't even. God, fuck.
Vampires pee, Sam.
Her scent lingered in the car. I kept the windows up, letting it assault me, trying to get used to the feel of intentionally torching my throat.
Ow.
If these guys are fucking drinking alcohol and they damage their liver, how are they gonna get their fucking liver back, huh?
Well, I mean, they don't really have bodily processes, so that's not much of an issue. Plus, they don't seem to ever actually eat or drink anything that isn't blood. What's the point in being immortal if you're and not having to eat if you're not going to eat? I mean, you no longer have to worry about stuff like gaining weight, poor diet, shit like that. It's like, oh, hey, I can still enjoy the act of eating. Unless it's something like Moonlight, in which it's specifically stated that food, all like regular food, tastes like ash. Fuck it, why not?
Yeah. I could just picture that, like, everything tastes like shit now.
Yeah, there was actually a scene in the TV show Moonlight in which, like, a newly turned vampire, like, had, like, all that hunger come over him, and he raided a convenience store and was, like, eating, like, all the food there. It's like, it all tastes like it. I can't taste any of it. It's all terrible. And like this was what he was saying to like this to like the employee to the convenience store of the convenience store or gas station or whatever.
Was it just a lad who was just trying not to die? Like, did he knew he was a vampire? He was just like,
Didn't know the guy was a vampire. He thought someone was just eating food in the convenience store without paying for any of it and making a mess. It's like, hey, sir, I need you to stop. I can't taste any of it. And then, like, went berserk and ate the convenience store clerk.
Jesus fucking Christ. That's terrifying.
But also was an interesting way to go about it. Because there are typically two different ways that you end up going about this. One, they still taste food, but it doesn't actually sate their hunger. Or two, all normal food just tastes empty, like
shit.
There is no taste anymore.
Yeah.
It no longer tastes like food. The only thing that tastes like food is blood. Which that series also did an interesting thing in which sunlight didn't actually like kill vampires, but more had like caused like accelerated heat stroke.
Oh.
And so it's a whole thing of if they stayed out in the sun, they'd end up getting thirstier and thirstier. Yeah. And so there was an interesting thing in which the main character vampire was stuck in like Arizona, like basically like in like the desert in Arizona or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, and so like one of the things he did to try and like stave off the hunger is actually like just dumped a whole bunch of like bags of gas station ice into a bathtub and filled it with water and dove in, like just jumped in trying to cool himself off so he could stay like keep from like just going nuts due to thirst.
Yeah.
And one of the lines his internal monologue had at that point was, "Even the tomato juice of the tomato juice in the vending machine was looking vampire friendly at this point." That was an interesting show. That was also one where it was stated that the vampires were undead, and one of the things that other vampires were able to pick up on with each other was that vampires, as they got progressively older and older, you could smell the slight hint of decay on them.
Ooh, gross.
But it was so slight that really only other vampires could detect it. Which was an interesting thought. Anyway, attraction.
Attraction, like, it was a problematic thing to contemplate. So many sides to it, so many different meanings and levels. Not the same thing as love, but tied up in it inextricably.
Inextricably. Also, I just thought about the fact that Bella's from Arizona. So does that mean that like all the like weird stuff she says is with a southern accent?
Maybe.
Like when she's using all these like antiquated phrases and stuff, it's actually with this sort of accent right here.
Yeah.
There are 3 things I knew for certain. 1, Edward was a vampire. Oh god, Southern Bella. That's how they should have portrayed her in the movie.
Edward was a vampire. Hoot.
I know what you are.
I got my eyes on you.
This is the skin of a killer. You're beautiful. Southern Bella. Let's do this.
Is it my line?
I had no idea if Bella was attracted to me. Would her mental silence somehow get more and more frustrating until I went mad, or was there a limit that I would eventually reach?
I tried to compare her physical responses to others, like the secretary and Jessica Stanley, but the comparison was inconclusive. The same markers, changes in heart rate and breathing patterns, could just as easily mean fear or shock or anxiety as they did interest. It seemed unlikely that Bella could be entertaining the same kind of thoughts as Jessica Stanley used to have. After all, Bella knew very well that there was something wrong with me, even if she didn't know exactly what it was. She had touched my icy skin and then yanked her hand away from the chill.
Well, probably because she's from Arizona. The cold is weird.
Cold never bothered me anyways. Just kidding, it does.
I mean, canonically, she does dislike the cold and snow, which is weird because she shacks up with someone who is ice cold and sparkles in the sun, you know, like snow.
Oh, it's raining outside now.
Oh. I'm kind of jealous.
We've been having pretty bad storms here, so if I just, that's why.
If you just get Thanos snapped.
If Thanos suddenly busts into my house and goes,
you want some soup?
What?
You saw Endgame.
But the soup? Fuck.
He was making that big pot of soup.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like some soup?
Thanos at the beginning of Avengers Endgame, and it's just the beginning of Shrek.
Honestly, I would have loved like that scene. Like they all just sat down for a bowl of soup.
And then they fight him.
No. They fight him, and then they steal his soup.
They don't even kill the lad, just take his soup. Oh, gosh.
Just Thor, one arm picks up the bowl, like the pot.
This is mine now.
Mine.
Thanos is like, wait, no, I need that. That sucks.
My soup. Go tend to your crops. God damn it. I don't know, like I saw a picture of like a thumbnail from an animation someone did, and it was like Thanos with that pot of soup, and then all the other Avengers characters sitting with him eating some. It's like, I just can't get that out of my mind.
I have to admit, that's a pretty interesting idea.
But also, one of the things I found out is that Stephenie Meyer has said that she finds both Edward and Jacob attractive. One's kind of weird to be saying that about your own characters.
Unless you're a porn artist.
Yeah. And 2, Jacob's in his teens, and you're 40. Edward is physically in his teens, and you're 40. Ma'am?
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 Exactly, ma'am?
Ma'am?
Ma'am, is there something you need to say?
Ma'am? Please stop.
Do I need to call the cops, ma'am?
Hello, 911. Yeah, she's in Utah. Well, yes, I do realize it's a long way to drive from Texas.
But we have a serious problem here, and I need you to help.
Like, it's weird enough that like fans of the series, like 40-year-old, like women in like their mid-30s and such, like swooning over teenage boys. Like, nah, man, no, that's children. That's children. Don't you be doing that.
Yep.
Weird.
Yep. Please don't.
And yet, as I remember those fantasies that used to repulse me, but remembered them with Bella and Jessica's place.
I was breathing more quickly, the fire crawling up and down my throat. I should probably spit out the fire.
I didn't swallow the fire. Was always burning since that scarlet fever.
Oh gosh.
What if it had been Bella imagining me with my arms wrapped around her fragile body? Okay, that's weird. Feeling
but what if? No.
How about you not describe her as fragile? That's yeah. Feeling me pull her tightly against my chest and cupping my hand under her chin. Your entire hand? Why not just like your index finger? Like curl your index finger and have it to where it's like her chin, like the point of her chin between your index finger and your thumb.
Why not just put both of your hands on the side of her head and then snap her neck?
That's a bit weird.
What? Not.
I can't say I subscribe to that kink.
What? What but then I flinched away from the daydream, knowing
I still haven't finished.
Oh shit. Fuck.
I was just confused by why his entire hand was under her chin.
Yeah, isn't she like supposed to be small and dainty? So like
I think with most people, like unless you have your hand turned weird, like I have a chiseled chin. Be the first to point it out. However, if you stuck your entire hand under my chin, you would have to twist your arm in a weird way.
Like the only way to get an entire hand under somebody's chin is to put it in the choking motion, you know what I mean?
You'd have to like have your hand sideways if you were gonna cup their chin.
Yeah.
And that's gonna put like your elbow weird. Your hand's gonna be twisted at a weird angle in order to get that done.
Let's be real though. I'm pretty sure Edward's kind of a special.
I mean, he is a 100-year-old virgin.
Whew. Poor guy.
Brushing the heavy curtain of her hair back from her blushing face, tracing the shape of her full lips with my fingertips, leaning my face closer to hers where I could feel the heat of her breath on my mouth, moving closer still.
What's this? Notice the bulge.
Woo, Edward, what's this?
Ooh, Edward, is this your hand? You know what they say about big hands. But then I flinched away from the daydream, knowing as I'd known when Jessica had imagined these things, what would happen if I got that close to her?
Attraction was an impossible dilemma, because I was already too attracted to Bella in the worst way.
Wait, so like, I've got a question. Who's Jessica?
I think that's one of their classmates.
Oh, the jealous one, maybe?
Yeah, that one.
Boo, I was hoping it was somebody that Edward actually killed in the past and he's trying to not do it again. Nah, that'd be, I don't know, plot development.
Oh, shit, it's the lady played by Anna Kendrick?
I have no idea who that is.
You don't know who most people are.
I don't even know who I am anymore.
Anyway.
Thanos soup.
That's not what I meant, but okay.
Did I want Bella to be attracted to me, a woman to a man?
You mean friends?
No. Here's the thing. He's bringing up the fact that he's worried about Bella being attracted as a straight person. Remember?
Oh yeah, but that
Edward
could
is
still be
also for
friends.
him banging his sister, is what I'm trying to say. Which is why he's worried about her being attracted to a man.
Ah, got ya. Oh fuck, she's straight. God damn it. I mean, granted, that doesn't guarantee that she'd be attracted to him sexually.
Yeah.
And that's just a really stupid mentality.
Alright, I wasn't paying attention, sorry. I'm looking at more Thanos soup meme.
I just looked at the Gordon Ramsay one.
Yep.
How the fuck could you fuck up soup, you useless twat?
I'm
sorry.
Gordon. I will do better.
I wish I had the time stone so I could go back and tell your mother to fucking swallow you. Jeez. I mean, granted, when he was born, his mother tried to kill him.
Really? Is that like comic?
That was in the comics.
Yeah.
The whole thing is that he was born to the as one of the immortals, but he looked like one of the deviants instead. And so his mother was like, "What the fuck's with this fugly child?"
I'm gonna kill it.
Like she nearly stabbed him with scissors in the hospital.
You wanna know how much of a weeb Thanos is? He used the Infinity Gauntlet to make a waifu for himself.
Wait, what?
Thanos has a quote-unquote wife. I mean, yeah, he's trying to bone death, but he made the perfect quote-unquote mate for him with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Wait, was that the female Thanos thing?
Yeah, the her name is Taraxia.
That's what her whole thing is?
Yeah, she was literally made from the Infinity Gauntlet to be Thanos' perfect bride.
Wait, is that where his son came from?
I don't know about the son thing.
Because he has a biological son who also ended up turning evil.
No, I don't think so. Taraxia literally got fucking offed because she couldn't breathe in space. Yeah, because kind of like some hindsight. Like Thanos didn't have any hindsight. Thane, Thanos' son, Earth 616. Relatives, let's see. Where's unnamed mother? No, this isn't unnamed mother.
We don't know who he banged, but he banged someone.
Yeah, so if he looks kind of humanish. Do you think he boned a human? Do you think he's
a lot of aliens look humanish?
Well, no. There's like a picture here that says before the Terrigenesis, and he looks completely human.
Huh. Weird.
Thane is a secret inhuman son of Thanos after this descendant inhuman tribe ran afoul of Thanos and his army, so he's an inhuman.
Okay, so he's an inhuman. Yeah. Anyway, that was the wrong question. The right question was, should I want Bella to be attracted to me that way? And the answer was no.
Yeah.
Because I was not a human man. And that wasn't fair to her. I'm gonna stop boo-hooing.
With every fiber of my being, I ache to be a normal man so that I could hold her
normal man
without risking her life. So that I can be free.
Blood? It's jam.
So that I could be free to spin my own fantasies that didn't end with her blood on my hands, her blood glowing in my eyes.
It's jam.
Don't worry, it's jam. Only jam.
Alex Hirsch, is that a fountain of blood flying into the sky? It's jam. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
It was during when the last episodes of Gravity Falls was airing.
It was in the last episode of Gravity Falls?
The last few episodes, there was I forgot what the villain's name was. But like the warped version of the intro song.
Oh.
And in it, the waterfall was turned into a waterfall of blood that was going upwards. And so someone made the joke of like the Disney executives. Alex Hirsch, is this a waterfall of blood flowing into the sky? It's jam. as a reference to the gnome episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the weird zombie gnome thing.
What's your name? Normal man. He means Norman. Norman, is that blood on your face? It's jam. Yeah, that. I've never seen him blink. Well, maybe he's just blinking when you're blinking.
Oh, I haven't watched Gravity Falls in so long.
I fucking love that show.
It was great. I'm glad they actually had the sense to stop it. You know what I mean?
Well, that was actually Alex Hirsch. Alex Hirsch was like, yes, I have an ending in mind. He was if memory serves, Disney executives wanted to continue it, but he was like, no, we're finishing it here.
Yeah, no, we are stopping.
I have an ending written. We are stopping.
You can't keep making me do this either. Huh. And then Disney said okay, and they didn't do it.
Granted, the second season got kind of boned when it came to ratings because of the fact that they put it on Disney XD.
Oof, yeah.
Which fewer people watch. It's where most of the animated stuff, like original episodes of animated stuff, are aired because Disney Channel is mostly just the sitcoms.
Yeah.
Which is a really shitty way to do things because Disney's animated stuff is usually the good stuff, with the exception of Pickle and Peanut, which is garbage. But like stuff like Wander Over Yonder, like that one was good. But of course, not many people saw it because Disney XD.
Yep.
And it also had a great villain song. It was literally called I'm the Bad Guy, and that song was just great. Just a new villain comes in, roasts the original villain. Like, I'm not here to fucking team up.
Screw you, kid.
Screw you and your plan to dominate the galaxy. I want to fucking destroy it. Like, she was not playing around. Oh, God.
I need to actually watch that again.
There was that. Phineas and Ferb is actually pretty good. Like, the fact that it managed to never actually feel, like, tired or played out.
Yeah.
Is a pretty good accomplishment. And the writing for that was honestly really great. I think my favorite moment was the one where Doofenshmirtz trapped Perry the Platypus via social convention.
We're on a train. You can't attack me now.
You're trapped by social convention. We're in the restaurant. We're in a restaurant train car. It would be poor taste to start a fight right now.
I like how he sits back down
he
too.
He just sits down.
You have a point. Reluctantly,
opens menu. It's like, God damn it, that was good.
Yeah.
Or like the one episode, like the time travel episode in which they actually bring have bowling for soup. The people who do the theme song show up in the episode to do in the middle of the episode to do the theme song where they're talking to like Candace's kids from the future. As Bowling for Soup is walking out of the backyard, one of either Phineas just goes, "Man, they were ahead of their time." What?
God, that's a stupid joke. I hate that.
It's stupid, but I love it. Just a sec, I'm kind of sweaty, so I'm going to turn my fan.
Is it my line?
This way.
What? Scoob! Wait, Scoob, is it my line?
On high.
Wait.
Alright, anyway, we should continue.
Is it my line, Scoob?
Let's see.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's my line.
I thought you said... did I...
You said the every fiber of my being. Normal man thing.
Right.
My pursuit of her was indefensible. What kind of relationship could I offer her when I couldn't risk touching her?
I hung my head in my hands.
I tried so hard.
Wait a second.
And got
hands.
So hard.
You suddenly jacks off.
It was all the more confusing because I had never felt so human in my whole life. Not even when I was human, as far as I could recall. I will say that weirdly enough, like some of the stuff Edward does could be kind of defended by the fact that he grew up 100 years ago.
Not really
back
defensible, but it's
kind of like whenever an old man says something like racist or homophobic or sexist. It's like, yeah, he's kind of too old and set in his ways to really correct him at this point.
Yeah, it's not worth the trouble.
Yeah. The only problem, he's immortal.
Yep.
Edward, back in my day.
I could totally picture him being like that too. That's the thing.
Back in my day, women stayed in the kitchen. Back in my day, it was all right to break into a woman's house and watch her sleep. No, it wasn't, Edward. Yes, it was. Anyway.
Oh, gosh.
As far as I can recall. And when I had been human, my thoughts had all turned to a soldier's glory. The Great War had raged through most of my adolescence, and I'd only been 9 months away from my 18th birthday when the influenza had struck. I just had vague impressions of those human years, murky memories that faded more with every passing decade. I remember my mother most clearly, felt an ancient ache when I thought of her face. I recalled dimly how much she had hated the future I had raced eagerly toward, praying every night when she said grace at dinner about that the horrid war would end. I had no memories of another kind of yearning. Besides my mother's love, there was no love that had made me wish to stay.
Yet here you are.
Because he is the big virgin.
He's big virgin. He's the big virgin, lad.
I swear her critiques of Edward are like some of the stupidest shit.
Yeah.
You weird virgin. If Edward had grown up in the modern day of anime, he may have felt love, but
Woo! All right. Okay. So my line?
Yes.
This was entirely new to me. I had no parallels to draw, no comparisons to make.
The love I felt for Bella had come purely, but now the waters were muddied. I wanted very much to be able to touch her. Did she feel the same way?
Push me, and then just touch me, so I can get my satisfaction. That didn't matter. I tried to convince myself.
I don't know why. I'm just imagining When I Think About You by the Divinals right now, playing in Bella's head, non-stop. I don't want anybody else. I'm not going to continue that.
Bella's full cell.
When I think about you, I touch myself. Oh. Did you know that the music video for that was actually directed by Michael Bay?
No.
I'm not kidding.
I didn't even see the musical video, though.
I mean, it's mainly just the lead singer, like, singing while, like, lounging on a couch and stuff like that. Doing sexy poses while singing about masturbating.
Oh.
Which that really is the kind of thing that would only work if it were a woman saying that. You can't exactly just walk up to a woman and say, "Hey, I thought about you while rubbing one out of the shower, baby."
Unless you're dating somebody or married to them for a very long time.
Yeah, you'd have to already be in a relationship with them, at which point it's like, then you never thought to just come over and have sex with me?
Oh, I did, but you were busy. Speaking of which...
Instead of dealing with blue balls, I just decided to jerk one.
Yeah. Speaking of which... let's have sex now! You up? It's like, you up for it?
I stared at my white hands.
God, there was a bunch of white...
Hating their hardness, their coldness, their inhuman strength.
They're like, I don't know, something.
Their small daintiness.
Honestly, it looks like they could float on the wind. I was actually really concerned for them. Is it my turn?
Yes.
I jumped when the passenger car door opened.
Ha! Caught you by surprise. There's the first. Emmett thought as he slid into the seat. I bet Mrs. Goff thinks you're on drugs. It's so erratic lately. Where were you today?
Well, in the great words of my father, if somebody's being very quiet and silent all the time, they're probably actually high. Though when they're rowdy and doing a lot of sporadic stuff is when they're not high, because they're not worried about getting caught.
Wait, what?
My father said that people thought he was on drugs when he was clean, and when people thought he was clean, he was on drugs. Because when he was on drugs, he was worried about getting caught, so he'd be more silent in class and stuff. But when he wasn't currently high or something, he would be more rowdy because like fuck it, I'm not gonna get caught. I'm not on anything right now.
I never thought that rowdy people were high, though. It's just like, oh, hey, they got a lot of energy.
No, it's when the normally silent people are suddenly really rowdy.
I just was like, no, they must be comfortable right now.
Maybe.
Your line.
I was doing good deeds!
Huh?
I chuckled. Caring for the sick, that kind of thing.
That confused him more. Then he inhaled and caught the scent in the car.
Ew! I get it. Oh, that girl again.
I grimaced.
This is getting weird.
Tell me about it, I mumbled.
He inhaled again. She does have quite a flavor, doesn't she?
That's weird. The snarl broke through my lips before his words had even registered all the way. An automatic response.
Whoa, chill out, dude.
I mean, that's close to the actual line.
Easy, kid, I'm just saying.
The others arrived then. Rosalie noticed the scent at once and glowered at me, still not over her irritation. I wondered what her problem was, but all I could hear from her were insults.
Ooh! Uh-oh, what happened?
Gobbling ass wipe. Ass wipe? Wow, that one was weird.
I'll wipe your ass.
Please don't.
Why not?
Keep your hand away from my ass. That's just weird.
You're weird. Yeah.
Waiting for your line.
Isn't everyone waiting for my line, though?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I feel so important now. Hey, what's opinion?
I don't want anybody else.
I didn't like Jasper's reaction either. Like Emmett, he noticed Bella's appeal. He just said she smelled good. What? Not that the scent had for either of them 1,000 portion of the draw it had for me. How the fuck do you know, bitch? I was still upset that her blood was sweet to them. Jasper had poor control.
Probably shouldn't be taking him into public places then.
Pretty much.
Alice skidded to my side of the car and held her hand out for Bella's truck key.
No, wait, Bella's truck? What?
That's that's right. Because of the fact that he drove her home, he took her keys so that one of the members of his family could take the truck back to her house.
Instead of him?
Yes.
Pussy.
Also, I found out that in later books, like, she ditches the truck for a sports car, which, fuck you, that truck is amazing. I love that truck.
She ditches it for a sport? How does she even have one?
Because in marrying Edward, she joins the Cullen family, and according to Forbes in 2011, the Carlisle has more money than both Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne at the time did, with like $32 billion.
How?
For one, they have a clairvoyant person playing the stock market.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
I mean, that tends to help.
That explains everything. Never mind.
Granted, if you see something like someone suddenly dumping, selling stocks right before they drop in value, that tends to draw some attention from the government.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the government would be like, hey, how do you know all this?
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Like, pump and dumping is kind of a fucking frowned upon thing in the stock market. And in one-night stands, at least stay for breakfast.
I could just picture like the government shows up to like ask about this person and they're sitting in the back like looking at tarot cards and have like a magic ball in the back and they just think this person's insane but lucky. But at the same time, how long have they been playing the stock market?
I don't know.
How long would the government just be like, how are you still alive and looking the same?
I mean, it makes more sense than the fact that Rosalie was apparently rich during the Great Depression due to the fact that her father was a banker.
Oh.
A banker would be in the worst position during the Great Depression because most of the banks went bankrupt.
Touché, my friend.
They'd be the poorest out of everyone.
Really?
Yeah,
it's just hard for me to picture a
issue
poor
is that
bank.
Everyone started like pulling their money from banks, so banks had no money.
Well, shit. What now?
And the thing is it's not like banks actually keep all the money they're given in the bank itself.
Yeah, they loan it out, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's so, like, nobody was able to pay their loans, all the money was being withdrawn from banks, so banks had no source of income.
Yeah, that...
Like, that was part of the issue with the Great Depression, and yet, Stephenie Meyer was like, oh, nah, her family was well off during the Great Depression because her dad was a banker.
Yeah, banks. They're always good.
Wait.
Is it my turn?
I
only saw that I was, she said, obscurely as was her habit. You'll have to tell me the whys.
This doesn't mean...
I know, I'll wait. I won't be long.
I sighed and gave her the key.
I followed her to Baylor's house. The rain was pounding down like a million teeny hammers. So loud that maybe Bella's human ears couldn't hear the thunder of the truck's engine. I watched her window, but she didn't come to look out. Maybe she wasn't there. There were no thoughts to hear.
It made me sad that I couldn't hear enough to even check on her. Hear enough even to check on her, to make sure she was happy, or safe at the least.
Alice climbed in the back and we sped home. The roads were empty and so it only took a few minutes. We trooped into the house and then went to our various pastimes.
Emmett and Jasper were in the middle of an elaborate game of chess, utilizing 8 joined boards spread out along the glass back wall, and their own complicated set of rules. They wouldn't let me play. Only Alice would play games with me anymore.
Good.
Well, yes, you read people's minds. I bet you're not allowed in Vegas either.
I could just picture like a vampire-run casino, and they like keep tabs on all the vampires that are going in to make sure they're not using their powers in their damn casino.
Oh yeah, so if they have any like powers that would screw things up.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the whole thing of like Alice can see the future and Edward can read minds. So neither one of them are people you want to play a game of chess against.
Nah.
Or play a game of poker against. It's kind of like how in the comics Spider-Man isn't invited to superhero poker games.
His spider sense helps him with it?
Basically, his spider sense protects him from anything that could be considered a danger to him, and that includes economic or financial. The thing is it's actually been established that it doesn't work on people he doesn't deem a threat, which means that other superheroes can get the jump on him in a fight. As well as during poker games, it doesn't, his spider sense doesn't work. But in one comic, one of the people invited to one of these superhero poker games was Kingpin.
Oh.
And Spidey absolutely cleaned him out. Because Kingpin is considered a villain. And so being a Spider-Man considers him a threat, his Spidey sense worked on him.
So because the villains were allowed in there too, they just said, sorry, Spider-Man, not anymore?
Well, basically, he was told in another time he got invited to one of the superhero poker games, because it was the Thing that typically runs them.
Oh.
He asked, like, so why am I never really invited to these things? And everyone's, like, a few people go, well, because of your spider sense, you'd immediately know whether or not people have a good hand. And so you could use that to just like play the game against us. And then Wolverine said, also you talk too much. Because he's Wolverine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the only because other superheroes can typically circumvent his Spidey sense because of the fact that he considers them allies, not threats. The only example that this isn't the case with is Venom, or like
Oh shit.
any of the symbiotes descended from Venom because of the fact that Venom was bonded to him and knows basically just has innate ways to work around it as a result.
Ah. Nice.
As does everything that all the symbiotes that descended from Venom, such as Carnage, Anti-Venom. No, Anti-Venom is actually just a mutated version of the remains of the symbiote in Eddie Brock. Toxin, Mayhem, all of them.
There's a couple.
Oh yeah, there's a good few.
But yeah, I could just picture just a vampire casino where they have like one really short looking vampire, but he just like goes around acting like a buzzer. So he's like, stop using your powers.
They have
Stop
one
using your powers.
vampire whose ability is to detect what other vampires' powers are. Sorry, you can read minds. Go.
Yep.
You're not allowed in. But
You're allowed at the
not
slot
allowed
machines
in.
only.
But the one that can see the future isn't allowed to use the slot machines. I'm sorry, you're just not allowed to do anything here. But what? You can see the future. That will run us out of business.
Powers just seem like a really interesting thing because people could just have really random non-offensive powers that can be really convenient for stuff like that.
No, yeah, like there are some interesting ways to go about this. Emmett's ability is that he's an empath, so he can sense the emotions of other people psychically, but then he can also put emotions, like forcibly cause other people to feel emotion, feel different emotions. And in one of the books that has a portion from Jacob's perspective, and he says that it's damn annoying, but you aren't able to feel annoyed until after it's done. Which is a terrifying ability because, again, you're just forced to feel a different emotion.
I'm mad at you right now, but it's impossible for me to be so.
You start being mad, and then you're forced to be happy.
That would piss people off.
That'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I believe it's your line?
Is it?
Maybe, I don't know.
Give me a second. I think my computer froze or something.
It's yours. It starts with Alice went to the computer.
Alice went to the computer just around the corner from them, and I could hear her monitoring Sings to life.
Monitors.
Yeah. Alice was working on a fashion design project for Rosalie's wardrobe, but Rosalie didn't join her today. To stand behind her and direct cut and color as Alice's hand traced over the touch-sensitive screens. Carla and I had to tweak the system a bit, give that most such screens responded to temperature.
How did you tweak that?
Instead today, Rosalie...
Technically speaking, you could have just bought ones that use styluses.
Yeah.
That probably would have been easier.
Sprawled suddenly on the sofa and started flipping through 20 channels, a second on the flat screen, never pausing. I could hear her trying to decide whether or not to go out to the garage and tune her BMW again.
Wait, does Rosalie do mechanic work?
I guess.
Because if so, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm just trying to remember which one of the members of the Cullen family apparently has multiple Porsches. I think it was Alice.
That's a lot of Porsches.
Esme was upstairs, humming over a new set of blueprints.
Loop prints, my brother. Alice leaned her head around the wall after a moment and started mouthing Emmett's next move. Emmett sat on the floor with his back to her, to Jasper, who kept his expression very smooth as he cut off Emmett's favorite night.
And for the first time in so long that I felt ashamed, went to sit at the exquisite grand piano station just off the entryway.
And he slapped it.
Wait a minute, is this why Christian Grey plays piano? Because Edward does?
You gotta learn to play piano, buddy.
Yes, it is Alice that has multiple Porsches.
Why?
I don't know. It's just on TV tropes under the cool car tab. It says Alice. More Porsches than you could probably name. Is it just because she does the stocks? Like, I get the majority of the money.
Probably.
It says that Edward has a Volvo S60R and an Aston Martin V12 Vanquish. And that Rosalie has a BMW M3.
Guess what I got? A Dodge Caliber.
But like the whole thing is that Stephenie Meyer's brothers are like gearheads. Like they're big fans of cars, and so she let them pick out which car each character would probably have.
That's cute, though.
That is kind of cute. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of cute.
Ran my hand gently up the scales, testing the pitch. The tuning was still perfect.
Okay, if you have super hearing, I have to imagine that a note just being slightly almost imperceptibly off key for like most people would probably drive you a bit insane.
Oh, for sure. Like we're at a live concert and the slight change is just like, no, I hate this.
Oh god.
Super senses just seem like a really like cool power in one sense, but at the same time feels like it could backfire greatly.
It'd be the kind of thing where you'd probably have to be born with it in some way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Kind of like a super smell or something like that. Like unless it's like the whole situation of like similar to like many animals in which you've always had like a heightened sense of smell, it'd probably be terrible. Because if you were to just suddenly get it, that would suck.
I can hear, yeah.
I can smell everything.
And I don't know how to make it stop or zone it out.
Because it's the whole thing of like, if you were born with it, then it's the whole thing of like, yeah, your nose is just used to it. Like, yeah, you can tell like someone probably hasn't bathed a lot easier than other people. But at the same time, if you just suddenly gained it, all of a sudden, like, you deal with that one person who hasn't bathed, it's like, oh god!
Yeah, just like,
just immediately. Or like just walking anywhere in the city and all you can smell is gasoline.
Ooh, that would suck.
Like, that would suck. There is also the interesting thing, though, is that every person has an individual smell. Like, smell is kind of like a fingerprint. No two people smell exactly the same. And so you would have this weird situation in which you could recognize friends by their scent.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That would be hilarious. Like someone, like, enters the room and without looking, like, you just, like, catch a whiff of them and they're like, oh, hey, you.
They're like, how did you know I was here? Shut the fuck up.
You.
Yeah.
Similar to like how you can tell who someone is just by the pattern of their footsteps.
I don't listen to people's footsteps enough to know that.
Although you would never be able to recognize your own.
Really?
Well, yeah.
How come?
Mostly, it's the same way as like if you were to meet an identical copy of yourself, you wouldn't recognize them as your identical copy. It's a whole thing of like, you're so used to your own patterns, like your own bodily smell, stuff like that, that unless something really weird, unless like something gets really out of hand, you aren't going to recognize it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, yeah.
Let's see. It's like, that's the whole thing of like, I'm pretty sure if I spent enough time, I could probably recognize people by smell, but I'd never be able to recognize my own because my nose is numb to it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is it my line?
No, it's mine. Upstairs, Esme paused what she was doing and cocked her head to the side.
I began the first line of tune that suggested itself to me in the car today. Please, that sounded even better than I imagined. B for Bella.
Edward is playing again, Esme thought joyously, a smile breaking across her face. She got up from her desk and flitted silently to the head of the stairs.
Added a harmonizing line, letting the central melody weave through it.
Esme sighed with contentment, sat down on the top step, and leaned her head against the banister. New song. It's been so long. A lovely tune.
Crap, okay.
You okay there?
Yeah, are we gonna keep going?
Yeah. Not been an hour yet. Why?
Really?
Yeah, it's not. It's barely been 30 minutes.
What? Fuck no. It's
Yeah.
been. We started at like 11:27. It's what?
We
The fuck?
started at
3:56.
We
What is going on with
Oh,
my head?
okay, it has been an hour, but we might as well finish this page,
Yeah.
if not the next one, because we've actually been making progress, weirdly.
I let the melody lead in a new direction, following it with a bass line.
Edward is composing again? Rosalie thought, and her teeth clenched together in fierce resentment.
What? In that moment, she slipped, and I could read all of her underlying outrage. I saw why she was in such a poor temper with me, why killing Isabella Swan had not bothered her conscience at all.
Rosalie, it was all about vanity.
The music came to an abrupt halt, and I laughed before I could help myself, a sharp bark of amusement that broke off quickly as I threw my hand over my mouth.
Oh, hey, he's showing emotion. That's a relief.
But it's
Rosalie turned to glare at me, and her eyes sparkled with chagrined fury.
Emmett and Jasper turned to stare too, and I heard Esme's confusion. Esme was downstairs in a flash, pausing to glance between Rosalie and me.
Don't stop, Edward. Don't stop, Edward, Esme encouraged after a strained moment.
Don't stop believing, Edward.
Don't stop believing.
No.
Anyway. Your line.
I started playing?
Yes.
I started playing again, turning my back on Rosalie while trying very hard to control the grin stretching across my face. She got to her feet and stalked out of the room, more angry than embarrassed, but certainly quite embarrassed.
If you say anything, I will hunt you like a dog.
I smothered another laugh.
What's wrong, Rose? Emmett called after her. Rosalie didn't turn. She continued, back ramrod straight to the garage, then squirmed under her car as if she could bury herself there.
What's that about? Emmett asked me.
I don't have the faintest idea, I lied.
Emmett grumbled and frustrated. My bad.
Keep playing, Esme urged. My hand had paused again.
I did as she asked, and she came to stand behind me, putting her hands on my shoulders.
The song was compelling but incomplete. I toyed with a bridge, but it didn't seem right somehow.
It's charming. Does it have a name? Esme asked.
Not yet.
Is there a story to it? She asked, a smile in her voice. This gave her very great pleasure, and I felt guilty for having neglected my music for so long. I had been selfish.
It's a lullaby, I suppose. I got the bridge right then. It led easily to the next movement, taking a life of its own.
A lullaby, she repeated to herself.
I'm not gonna lie, this scene's actually kind of interesting. I mean, for one, it's him actually doing something that he enjoys, which characters indulging in hobbies typically isn't really a bad thing, ever. Like, if you actually show the character doing something that they have a genuine passion for, it's usually going to endear them more.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, if Edward wasn't unlikable up till now, this would probably be a lot better, but...
Yeah, even this, he just acts like a dick.
Well, like, even if he was... Because this, whenever he was acting... Like, this specific scene when he's acting like a dick, it's more just, like, playfully teasing. Like, it's more like the kind of jerk-ass thing you'd expect. And it's more like the jerk-ass thing that you'd expect between siblings. Like, don't you say a fucking word.
Yeah, I just wish that we actually got details as to why she was mad, though.
I think it's basically that she's pulling a whole Ice Queen thing, and so it's like she actually does care about like the issues at hand, but she's trying to pretend she doesn't and is putting up an angry front because of it. That seems to be what it's implying, at least.
All right.
Did you say your line? A lullaby question or lullaby phrase?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a story to this melody, and once I saw that, the pieces fell into place effortlessly. The story was of a sleeping girl in a narrow bed, dark hair thick and wild and twisted like seaweed across the pillow. That's a bit weird.
Hold on, I gotta take my dog out. She's whining. Oh, I just hear behind me.
Gotta take my dog out.
Watch this. She's not even gonna go outside. Gotta go.
Oh, whoa, that was good.
Status update, my dog didn't go outside. She's just whining for no reason.
She probably wants attention.
She's nervous because it's raining. Maybe my parents are coming home
I
too.
just heard the dog bark.
Yep. My parents are probably home, maybe. Anyways. Alice left Jasper to his own devices and came to sit next to me on the bench. In her thrilling wind chime voice, she sketched out a wordless descent 2 octaves above the melody.
Yeah, like this scene, aside from that one part of what the story of the song is about, is actually an interesting situation, I will say that. I like it, I murmured. How about this?
I added her line to the harmony. My hands were flying across the keys now to work all the pieces together, modifying it a bit, taking it in a new direction.
She caught the mood and sung along.
Yes! Perfect, I said.
Esme squeezed my shoulder.
But I could see the end now, with Alice's voice rising above the tune and taking it to another place. I could see how the song must end, because the sleeping girl was perfect just the way she was, and any change at all would be wrong, a sadness. The song drifted toward the realization, slower and lower now. Alice's voice lowered, too, and became solemn, a tone that belonged under the echoing arches of a candlelit cathedral.
I played the last note and then bowed my head over the keys.
Esme stroked my hair. It's going to be fine. It's going to work out for best. You deserve happiness, my son. Fate owes you that.
Fate owes no one nothing.
Yep.
Thanks, I whispered, wishing I could believe it.
Love doesn't always come in convenient packages.
Sometimes it's inconvenient packages, like ones wrapped in duct tape that's had a blow dryer taken to it. So there's no longer any actual tab to the tape. You have to cut through the layer. And then someone's decided to put a fucking clock inside of it so you can just hear a ticking noise and you start panicking.
Then you open it to find another box.
With more clocks! And so you're half wondering why your friend decided to make it sound like they put a bomb in your Christmas present.
Alright, just... I don't know. I have no clever response for that.
I laughed once without humor.
You, out of everyone on this planet, are perhaps best equipped to deal with such a difficult quandary. You are the best and the brightest of us all.
Don't inflate his ego. I sighed. Every mother thought the same of her son.
Alright, let's put a stop to it here. We read, 5 pages?
6? No, 5. Yeah, we started on 140. Next page is 146. So yeah, we read 5, which is surprisingly a lot for this.
For us too? Yeah.
And we still got way off topic a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, then what are we reading? See you next time. I guess. Maybe. I don't know.